I bought a house behind my father's back because he's unsupportive.
Back support.
To start this off, I, now 31 female, moved out of my dad's home when I was 14 years old. Wow. He had anger issues, and me moving out and refusing to come back was his rock bottom, and he got the help he needed. I was lucky, and a family member took me in, and I slowly let him back into my life. By the way, this comes from Big No 1547, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Quick trigger warning, this might have some anger issues. If you want to skip to the next story, go ahead and do that. Back 12 years ago or so, I was fresh out of high school, but had an awesome paying job and inheritance from my grandparents. I decided I wanted to buy a house near the local college so that way I could get a degree and get an even better job. Buying a house at 18, let's go.
All right, shout out inheritance.
The house I found was 4 beds and 3 baths and listed for under $100,000.
Where are you living? The moon? Like,
Please tell us.
Where do you get that real estate?
South Dakota. And I had just been updated. The house had just been updated. This was after the 2008 bubble burst, so the deal was really good.
Okay.
I went through the pre-approval process and put in an offer. Before I heard back, I showed my dad the house. I already lived alone, having moved out of the family member's house, but wanted to share my happiness and thought that he would be happy for me. I was horribly wrong. He berated me for over an hour, the highlights being, I was dumb to think I could handle owning a house at 19. I don't know how to own a house because I was too young. That was the same thing. I didn't need such a big place because it was only me.
That's true. That's kind of fair.
Roommates would destroy the place. That was the next example. Maintenance would just cost too much. I would eventually end up with a foreclosure on my record. Oh my God, so many reasons. So even though my offer was accepted, I walked away and regretted it deeply for years. Dude, freaking dad.
Instead of being jelly, dad should have been like, okay, so here's how we turn this into an investment that grows money instead of a hole in the ground that you throw money into.
I used to periodically check and see how much the house was worth, but stopped in 2016. I decided I was obsessing and it was unhealthy, but the house was worth over $400,000.
Yeah, I did the same thing with crypto. I took a long time before I could look at it again.
You got to stop it. Now, I thought I had let go of the negative feelings, but it seems house hunting has brought them back. I can't help thinking how much easier buying our new home would be if I had that house to sell for a down payment. My husband knows the story and supports me not telling my dad and even agrees. Then I was talking to one of my aunts and told her about the house we now have under contract. I asked her not to tell my dad. When she asked why, I explained, and she told me, well, if your father didn't burn all his bridges and would act like the adult he thinks he is, he would be left out of this kind of thing. Turns out they are not talking right now because he demanded money from her. She offered to pay him to do some basic chores since he doesn't have a job right now, but he claimed he was too busy and just wanted the money.
I'm too busy being unemployed. Just give me your money.
I have also heard his side since he called me to complain about her. He, however, left out the part where she offered to pay him to help her. While I agree he's acting like an entitled a-hole, I'm wondering if my aunt is agreeing with me because she's mad at him for the way he treated her. She definitely has every right to be mad, especially considering he sent some really nasty texts. But I also know the fallout from him not finding out about the house until after we have moved in will be unpleasant, to say the least. So now I am questioning if I might be acting like the a-hole. And we have some relevant comments and a verdict. But Dakota, first, do we think Opie's the a-hole?
No.
And why not?
Because it feels like your dad's just kind of like a negative force. And it's like, yeah, let's not involve him. Come on. Because if you do, he's just going to be like, how many rooms do you have?
I think he's proven time and time again that he is just not helpful or productive or anything like that. He just wants to be negative and work and get money.
That's right. He said, give me the money.
I'm too busy right now. I can't do any like chores to earn the money, but if you could just give me the money, just give me the money. Well, ladies and gentlemen, so the verdict on the Reddit story was not the a-hole, so we passed the test. And relevant comments from Mikey Weasel says, not the a-hole. Yeah, sounds like your dad will be an a-hole whether you tell him or not. Your decision with your aunt should really make this clear to you. If you tell him beforehand, you run the risk of him attempting to ruin it as well. If you and her husband have done due diligence, then ignore him and move in first. Also, why are you telling family members? The more people who know your dad know this secret, the more likely it is for it to work its way to him. And yes, your aunt might not tell him directly, but this is the type of info that someone you had not told to keep it secret might assume that your dad already knew. So your aunt tells mystery person A this info, mystery person A asks your dad about it because of that. Ergo, daddy finds out. But OP responds, I was stressed out when I talked to her and let slip why. That was a mess up on my part, though I didn't know she will tell anyone else since I told her I was trying to keep it a secret until after the appraisal comes back. At that point, it will be a done deal, even if we aren't living there yet. She has in the past been good at keeping secrets until I want others to know. When I was pregnant, she knew I was having a girl months before anyone else and didn't say a word of it to anyone, not even to her friends. Well, there you go. Fotely3146 says, not the a-hole. You don't owe him any explanation or apology of any kind. Agreed.
Exactly. Yes.
And if he gets mad, that'll be because he really wants to get mad, not because the situation justifies it. Also, has he ever apologized for the worst real estate advice ever? Good question. I can't wrap my head around the comment of you not knowing how to own a house. It's like a brand new sentence I didn't even know was possible. Now, Opie says he hasn't. He hasn't apologized. I just don't bring up stuff like this because he will throw a tantrum over it. He acts like a child a lot of the time, and I find it easier just to avoid setting him off and keeping things between us shallow. I'm not sure how else to describe how I deal with him. Now I have an update. Dakota, what do you conspirize Daddy is going to do? Give me
jail. Dad's
Jail?
going to jail.
Daddy's going to jail.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna do some crazy stuff once he's gonna eventually find out the house exists. Then he's gonna, in like a entitlement rage, go woo, and he's gonna like do something to the house, and it's gonna be on camera because OP's thinking ahead. And so that's my conspiracy.
Let's get into this update. We closed on the house late last week and moved in over the weekend. Let's go.
Woo!
I did not tell him what we were doing until after closing papers were signed and we had keys in hand. But do you know how to use them? Do you know how to own a house? Telling my dad went better than I thought it would, but I also didn't word it in a way that would come off as me asking his opinion. Yeah, tell him I bought a house. The end.
Right, because you don't need his opinion.
I called all my other family first before calling him. I was planning to just text him, but instead I called him and told him I was sending a text. The text I sent was a link to the house listing. Yes, this means he knows our address, but at this moment was unavoidable. He asked me when we would be closing and mentioned that he didn't like the location. Before he could say more, I told him we had just finished signing all the papers and were taking our first carload of boxes over. It's over, Daddy. That shut down the conversation, and while he was happy for us, I could tell he was unhappy, either that I didn't tell him sooner, or that he didn't get his thoughts on the house first. He hung up pretty quickly after that. I'm happy with how I went about it, even if my dad isn't. I know he was going to pick my home apart if I let him, especially since he had already said he didn't like the area. He's been mostly silent on the house news, but will text or call about anything else. My husband thinks the way he's been shut down is hilarious. He did the same with his mom, who thinks her grown children should always ask her permission to do anything in life as well. Everyone in our home is happy, and those who aren't don't get a say in it anyway because they don't live there. We also have made strategic use of all of the rooms, so we don't have a guest room of any kind. I also now have a yarn closet instead of yarn boxes shoved into a corner. What an upgrade.
Big ups.
What
a come up.
That
yarn closet?
Yarn closet's crazy. Thank you to everyone who's responded. I'm trying to get back to everyone, but I'm also at work, and while it's a slow day, I do still have things I need to finish. If you don't get a response from me, please know it's not because I didn't read it or appreciate what you wrote. And we have some relevant comments from Corona Cutie, who says, I bought my first house at 1920.
And you're an idiot.
Stupid.
You weren't ready.
Oh, when you throw in the keys, how do door open, house own? Hello. I was financially able to do it, and it was a huge investment in my future. I couldn't imagine my parents trying to talk me out of it. They knew it would only help me, especially with the price I bought it at and the interest rate I was able to obtain. It's been 6 years. I have $50,000 equity now just from rising house markets. I'm sorry your a-hole dad has talked to you out of a wonderful investment. I don't think you're an a-hole at all for not telling him. And Opie says, After posting this, I've come to realize just how terrible a person my dad is. I'm working on steps to go very low contact with him and figure if I play it right, I can eventually cut him out without losing the rest of my family. Calm in the Desert says, not the a-hole, the cherry on top of this great update is that you've made it so you don't have a guest room. As a fellow Yarnies in the chat, sound the freak off.
Dude, they're here, dude.
What's up? I salute you to being able to spread all of your lovely yarns.
Ooh, yeah. Spread that yarn.
Spread your yarns. Opie says the lack of a guest room is a precaution against both our families wanting to visit and stay with us. I plan on telling them the same thing I told them all when we lived in an apartment. We have an air mattress you can use in the living room floor, but the cat and dog will try to cuddle you. And we have update number 2. I thought we were just about to finish this freaking story off here. In May, he made noises about visiting us on the way through the area to visit his father-in-law in early July and said their visit would be my birthday present this year. He and his wife were going to help father-in-law with some farm-related stuff. I told him we had a camping trip sometime in July. I just didn't know when yet. He was annoyed, but said, okay, why would you be annoyed at that? In the first week of June, we picked our camping date for late July, so it didn't interfere. I texted him the dates and received a thumbs up in response. The month lead up to when they were supposed to visit was quiet. My birthday was midweek this year, so I was expecting to hear they would stop by either the weekend before or after. I heard nothing by the Friday before, so we made other plans. On my birthday, on the day of my birthday, I finally received a text at 9 p.m. that said, "Happy birthday. I've been busy helping with the harvest all day and just remembered to text you."
We gotta make sure we got enough grain to feed us during the winter. Happy birthday.
I was annoyed but sent a thanks back. I made excuses like he probably didn't have time to stop. He'll definitely see us on the way back through. Yeah, because you know what? It's not even the late text. It's the, oh, you said, oh, we're going to visit you, all this stuff. And then you just send me a late birthday text instead of any communication on visiting or seeing me.
Right.
That's a pretty big one. Guys, I was wrong. He passed us by both ways. Not even a phone call. I'm not too proud to admit that hurt. I am so glad I didn't tell my kiddo about his visit. I was worried he would flake. I don't know why something told me that he wouldn't show, and I knew it would break kiddo's heart if he did that. So I cut all contact in August. I called him out on everything he ever did, every instance of it, and told him I was done until he went to therapy and could apologize to me and actually be an adult. He lost it on me and called me every name he could think of, and he said he did it because I never told him we would be in town. When I sent him the screenshot of when I texted him the dates, he changed the story to they didn't have time, and I was selfish to think that they owed me a visit since we never visit them. I thought he was referring to the nightmare that has been 2020 and 2021. Nope. Apparently, our visiting my hometown and scheduling a day for each family household means we never come to visit because we don't spend the entire week catering to his desires. He hated us visiting my aunt and uncle one day, him the next, my aunt and uncle the next, and my half-sis and her dad, my mom, a day for friends, and him again on the last day before we head out. That is quite a schedule. But we never came to see just him and no one else, so it didn't count. So since then, he sent me one letter. This daddy's got something to say. I didn't open it. I just sent it back. He's tried to send kiddo packages without a return address, so I can't send them back. Those items have been donated. I did have to explain to kiddo in an age-appropriate way, thank you, therapist, for figuring out how to do that, and shout out therapist, why we can't see grandpa right now. Kiddo was sad, but told me it's okay because when you hurt someone, you need to say sorry and show the person you hurt you won't do it again. I wanted to cry. I'm so proud of my child for understanding this concept. I would cry too. By the way, if you want to cry every single day of your life, of mother effing joy, yes, I'm doing it.
Yes, the good version of crying.
The good version of crying where you are so grateful. You've had the greatest gift ever given to you. Ladies and gentlemen, do I have some ground earthquake shaking news for you?
Ground earthquake.
It's okay, story time. Search on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your pods. And guys, we have 2,000 episodes. I mean, literally, I have been running out of my own podcast to listen to as a human because I don't listen to my own podcast because that's crazy. And I wish I had 2,000 episodes I could binge. of my show, of the shows I'm into.
Yeah.
So go do that. But we're almost at the end of the story, Dakota. Do you have any closing thoughts?
First thought would be on like, I could have bought this thing for $100K and now it's worth more. And like my parents told me not to. And like, and I just need them to get it. Like, well, it's like you need to stop making everything hinge on them getting it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like you just need to make peace with that and take away from it and learn like, oh, first of all, my dad's not a great source of financial literacy. Yeah. Because that was a great deal for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, regardless of your age. So then you just move forward with that knowledge. And yeah, and now we don't need to really worry about him because he's like not really a present force of good in our life. You know?
Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. Do you agree with the no contact? The full stop no contact?
Yeah, especially with the kids involved because you got to think of the children. It's once the kid's involved, it doesn't matter if, it's like, yeah, I know how to deal with my dad and he doesn't impact me, but like the kid is going to be impacted by his grandfather not seeming to care about him.
Let's close this bad boy out, shall we? All things considered, I am a happier person than I was when I had him in my life. I hadn't realized just how much of my energy I spent on him. I don't have to plan trips home around what he wants. I don't have to cover for him with kiddo. I don't have to question if something is going to hurt his feelings or make him look bad or any number of things. A weight has been lifted. Thanks for reading my ramblings. Waffle Gang. I hope everyone is enjoying the holiday season. And some quick final comments. Irish Brigade says, why were you still talking to this guy after the last 2 posts? He sounds absolutely vile. Kiddo understands something the baby juice donor doesn't. Oh, forgot baby juice. Shout out to baby juice.
Shout out baby juice.
Something most kids start figuring out when they're 3. OP says emotional is a heck of a substance. It took 5 months of weekly therapy for me to unravel that knot. I've learned in that time just how badly messed up my childhood was, and it turns out it is not normal to have linear memories until high school. I have disassociated nearly half of my life into oblivion because of him. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of that story.
Indeed. I realized that my mother doesn't really care for me, so I cut her off. That's the sound of snippage. A little backstory. When I, 17 female, was 3, and my little sister, 16 female, was 1.5, we got pulled out of our bio mom's care by CPS. It was a big story, and I'm not going to get into that, but we ended up in foster care, and we really love our current parents. We see them as our real parents since they're the ones who raised us. By the way, this comes from user ConfidentAd5730, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we still see our bio mom every 4 months, but she remarried. And in 2015, she told us that we would get a little brother. At first, I thought that was cool, but when I realized we weren't even going to see him much, I just didn't really care about it. I love my little brother. He's a beautiful little boy who's turning 9 this year, and I do not blame him or our youngest brother, who was born in 2020, for any of the things my mom did. I know they are totally innocent, and that's why I'm not cutting contact with them completely. I still want them to be a part of my life, which I do by sending them letters. The thing is, these past few years, our bio mom constantly reschedules our meetings. Normally we have about 3 meetings a year, since we have one every 4 months, but since she reschedules so often, it came to the point where we really only see each other once a year.
Dang.
While I understood that it was hard for her when my brothers were first born, I now don't really have compassion for it anymore. In 2022, we didn't see each other before Christmas or after Christmas, and because of that, we got our Christmas gifts when we got our Easter gifts. For me, that also included a birthday gift since I was born in November. I have no problem with getting my birthday present in November since I'm used to it, but what really annoyed me was that she asked me and my sister what we wanted as gifts a week before we met up. She phrased it like, "What did you want for Christmas?" That really annoyed me. That was also the point where I started to question how important we actually were to our bio mom. So after she cut contact with us again, and we had like 2 missed meetings, and we saw each other again, I realized how little she actually cares. So I decided I had enough. I wrote her a letter where I stated that I really didn't like the way she treated me and my sister, as if we weren't as important as her other kids, even though we were all her biological kids. I told her since I'm turning 18 this year, I would have no problem cutting her out of my life. Since I am almost an adult, I want to be treated like that, which I believe is my good right. I gave her the letter on our last meetup, and I wrote in that letter that I wanted her to write me a letter in response, and that I would not accept it if she called or texted me. I gave her 2 options in my letter. Either she actually cared enough to spend time with me and my sister, or I could just cut contact with her. I didn't really include my sister in that decision because I believe it's her decision, whether she wants to cut contact with our bio mom or not. So I only spoke for myself. I specifically wrote that she had 1 week to send me a letter with her response, and if she didn't write one, I would immediately assume she picked the option that I would not attend our meetups anymore and I would be cutting contact with her. Due to a problem with our mail, I actually gave her 2 weeks to send the letter because mail was being slow and there was a problem with delivery. But it's actually been 3 weeks and there's still no letter. Dare I say, OP may push it to 4 weeks.
Bump the deadline.
I decided she probably picked the option that I'd be cutting her out of my life, which was okay with me. If she didn't want me in her life anymore, then I would not be part of her life anymore. It's that simple. Since my sister knew I'm on a school trip when our next meeting would be, she asked why no one talked about rescheduling it. Since I didn't tell her about my letter and neither did my parents, they thought it was my decision if I wanted to tell her or not. I told her that it's simply because I would not be attending the next meeting. Boo! Stop lying to your sister. Tell your sister the truth. She asked why, and I told her what happened and about my decision, and she called me a knucklehead for just cutting our bio mom out of my life. Okay, so you did do the thing. You told her. The thing is, since I'm the oldest sibling, I had to witness way more of the things that happened in our early childhood, and it actually requires me to still go to a therapist to deal with it. I have ADHD and anxiety because of what happened in the past and because I was born with ADHD. She didn't have any of these because she was only a baby when everything that happened, but I was old enough to actually get trauma from it. That's why I view the whole situation way differently than she does. I told her it was her decision whether she wanted to cut contact with our mom or not, but it was my decision to do so as well. And now I decided to do so. My sister has been calling me a knucklehead and saying that it's not fair to our brothers for me to cut contact with our mom. But the thing is, I never said I would cut contact with my brothers. I just don't want to be in contact with my bio mom. My brothers would still get gifts from me and letters because they really aren't at fault here. My sister said it doesn't matter and I'm still the knucklehead, so I asked a friend of mine who has known me since we were kids, and she also said what I did was wrong, and I shouldn't cut contact with my bio mom like that. I really don't think I'm the knucklehead here because I actually gave my bio mom multiple choices, and I have been giving her multiple chances as well, but she just never showed me she actually cared. So I came here to ask for your opinion. Am I the a-hole here or not? And there is an update.
We have an update. This is an interesting one because again, OP is also still 17 right now.
Yeah.
So very young.
Forever is a long, long time. The likelihood of you being like fully no contact forever is probably not like super high to begin with since you're 17. Show me I'm worth a letter.
Yes.
Show me I'm worth the time it takes to write one letter.
Yes.
And you couldn't do it. So at this point, it's like, well, I'm just going to do what I said I would do.
Yeah.
And I guess she agrees. She's okay with it. So here we go. I can't see how you're an a-hole for that. Here comes the update.
Ooh.
So my bio mom actually sent me a letter. And in that letter, she said because she sees us so little, she doesn't really get to express her emotions for us. And she feels like she's just a side role in our lives. She told me in that letter that my brothers would be very sad if I just didn't come to the meetings anymore. She also told me that she just thinks that she's not a good mom for us, and it would be best if she was a good friend to us, and she hopes she sees me at the next meeting. So, wonderful response. She's like, I know I failed you as a mom. I feel like I probably can't be a mom to you, so maybe I'm your friend? I hope you show up to the Cheesecake Factory.
It's honest.
It's
very,
which is all you can ask for, right?
Yeah,
there.
I mean, yeah, I guess she is. I don't know. There could be some more direct acknowledgement of like, I guess I'm just a bad mom. I think that's what's giving me a little bit of the ick.
This isn't quoted back, but I do agree with you. I think she should be owning it a little more, of being like, I'm sorry. I don't want to make you feel like I've already had to give you up once. Like, I don't want to make you feel like an afterthought even more now.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, that's not my intent. That's,
yeah.
Hopefully there's more of that in the letter, but now I have to see her in a few days because of legal actions since I'm almost 18 and I don't know how to feel about it. I'm really confused about this letter and I don't think I actually want to go to the next meeting or really want to see her. I am really confused right now and I really could use some help and advice. And we have a second update. Hi, it's me again. I know it's been some time, but I got a few updates. First of all, I did write my younger brother, who's 8, a letter. I didn't get a response from it. Yes, and I sent it to him about 6 months ago, so I believe he never got it. But that's not the reason I made this post. It isn't really much about the situation that happened before, but something else, and I really need advice. And by the way, I would advise you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. All you got to do is go to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and search OK Storytime. And you know what you're going to find there, John?
What is that?
Over 2,000 just sparkling little morsels that you can eat up with your ears. Yum, 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 yum. So let's finish this story, yeah?
Let's do it.
Today, I was informed that my biological dad wants to have contact with us, me and my sister, and honestly, I don't know how to feel about it. He's been absent for almost 16 years of my life now, and now that I'm almost an adult, I'm turning 18 next month, he wants to reconnect. But I don't feel like letting him into my life or having a conversation with him at all. Because of him, my sister almost passed away, and I really don't want to talk to him, or my foster parents say it's my decision on whether I want to talk to him or not. But my sister is saying that I should because he's still our father. But, I disagree. But I don't feel like I have to, especially with everything that he put me through, even when I was just a baby. I really just need advice on what to do. And that is the end of that story.
My sister falsely called the CPS on me, so I removed her from my home.
Yeah, APS, I need you to remove an adult from my house.
Ooh, because I don't like that adult. Buckle up. This one's a hot mess express. I, 29 female, and my younger sister, Kylie, 21 female, and her boyfriend, James, 21 male, homeless, ... And now half my family's dragging me, saying it's just one argument. But was it, though? Here's the full saga. We have got a whole setup here.
Oh, yeah. This is about to be very well written.
By the way, this comes from Sufficient Cat, 4762, as opposed to a Insufficient Cat, on the r/Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit and send them in there.
Yeah, she should thought maybe go over there.
For some context, I have been raising Kylie off and on since she was 12 because our mom's a booze addict, and I didn't want her in foster care like I was. I have 4 kids, 9, 8, 7, and 2 boys and 2 girls, and Mama's busy. Okay?
Mama's busy.
Mama's busy. A few months ago, Kylie and James moved into my house. When they moved in, they got the entire downstairs. I'm talking master bedroom, living room, pantry, and their own bathroom. Rent was to be split 50-50. They'd pay $50 for their own water, $50 for their own internet, and me and my boyfriend, 29 male, would cover everything else. This is a deal.
Sounds like a deal.
I was under the impression that they both worked full time, and it turns out that that was a lie. For some extra context, they'd just been punted out of our grandmother's house after 3 years because they fought so much the landlord wouldn't renew the lease. Dude, the landlord wouldn't renew the lease on Granny, bro. Like, he wouldn't even give Granny a place to stay.
The landlord said, in this moment, I got to prioritize my own peace, guys.
Yeah,
you got to get off of my land.
Should have been my first red flag. That is true. At first, Kylie helped clean. Then it was, I'm the only one cleaning. Girl, my kids have a chore chart. They're on it. They clean baseboards with toothbrushes like I did growing up. Plus, I deep clean every Saturday. My son has asthma. I don't play around with cleanliness. Meanwhile, Kylie and James destroyed my house, fought constantly, broke the basement bedroom door, broke an actual stair step, so the stairs now move.
How do you do that?
What? Ate literally everything. And me and my boyfriend buy all the groceries. I'd go to the kitchen and there would literally be nothing for my kids. They'd even take food from my deep freezer to their friends' houses to grill and wouldn't bring me a plate. James, disgusting, leaves booty dust on the toilet. He doesn't wash his hands. He would only shower if Kylie cleaned him first.
These are aliens.
Would wash dishes in cold water because hot water hurts his hands.
Yeah, this alien. This alien, dude.
His own mom told him he couldn't live with her because of how nasty he is. God dang.
Wow.
One night, Kylie comes home, wasted again, wakes up my kids at 2 a.m., shaking them, asking where I am, screaming through the house like she didn't know people have jobs and kids have school. And this is after I found out she had a bench warrant she'd been dodging. What is a bench warrant?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Did this woman shook your kids awake?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're gone the next day.
Yeah, that's...
You're gone. Actually, you're gone the moment I learned that happened. You're gone.
Yeah. We
Wow.
not playing
And a
around
bench
with that.
warrant is the law is looking for her because she skipped court.
I'd had enough. I called the cops and told them that she had a warrant. Here we go. They picked her up. She spent 4 days in jail.
Straight to jail.
That's what we talked about.
Straight to jail. 4 days jail.
Not enough. Comes home again, I believe, still wasted, still loud, still fighting James. And this time, when I ignored her, she called CPS. She called Child Protective Services and the police. Told them I left my kids alone, home alone to DoorDash. I don't even DoorDash. So Child Protective Services came, saw my house, saw my clean house, well cared for kids, and closed the case immediately. The next morning, I printed out the police reports, the false Child Protective Services claim, screenshots of fights and threats, and filed a restraining order.
Huzzah!
That's where the not enough was, and this makes a lot of sense.
She's gonna have another bench warrant for that restraining order, I bet.
Oh, she's gonna keep coming. She's gonna break it 1,000 times, and then 400 days in jail. That's where we're headed next. The judge granted the restraining order in under 4 hours. Yeah, this judge hates her.
Yeah,
this judge knows her and hates her.
It doesn't sound fast when you think about it. Like a 4-hour movie, that's like a long time. But a 4-hour like restraining order, it's instantaneous.
So now my family's mad, saying, you made your sister homeless over one fight. Baby, it wasn't one fight. It was years of chaos. I chose my peace, my kids' safety, and my home.
Also, are we ignoring that, like, they're like, you made your sister homeless? She had a bench warrant.
The judge made her homeless because she did things very worthy of arrest.
Yeah. I decided I shouldn't harbor a fugitive in my home with my children.
Yeah, right? Golly. Am I the a-hole for making my sister homeless over one argument? By the way, not what you think it's going to be. She has a few days to appeal this protection order, so I'll keep you updated. And we have an update.
Oh, they were true to their word.
Talk to me.
Like, not your fault that an unlivable situation having these people in your house, and you have kids, dude. If you didn't have kids, it's one thing. But like, even then, it's like, just because someone is your sister or like is related, it doesn't mean that they're just like carte blanche entitled to like be around you and be in your house and like be up to no good, be up to dastardly deeds. And so the only thing you maybe didn't need to do was like call the sheriff and be like, hey, this warranted person is here. But like, honestly, yeah, it's probably for the best, because if you didn't, she's probably just going to hang out around your property. Update.
Let's freaking do it. Not sure if I updated it right the first time, but just as I expected, she is appealing the restraining order. We have court next week, the 29th at 11 a.m. Will she show up? That is the question. And my mom made sure to call me and tell me that she was going with her. Now, after this is all said and I'm done, I am going very, very low contact with my family. Because you're already not a good mom, but now you're also picking sides? You should have either stayed neutral or stayed out of it. Or told the little brat that she was wrong. But whatever, I guess, I will update once we finish court. Time to print out all texts and upload my cameras in the house to a flash drive and print pictures of the things that they've broken. Oh yeah, OP has receipts.
Oh yeah. Property damage receipts.
Honestly,
the worst kind.
Sister is even more of an idiot because OP just has a nuke of evidence that is just going to probably get her more repercussions because the stairs, property damage, that wasn't even brought to court yet.
Oh my God, the stairs. How do you break stairs?
All right, update number 2, y'all. Are we ready?
Yes.
I think we got the court stuff.
We're
Here
in
we
the
go.
King's Court.
All right, y'all. We had court today, and it went exactly how I expected, like a whole circus. Kylie and my mom showed up together, of course, and not only did my mom look like she hadn't seen a comb or clean outfit in a week, but she was also wasted as heck. Wow.
Not a good look at the court.
Stumbling around holding a Pepsi bottle that I'm 99% sure was straight vodka with a splash of soda just for color. The smell followed her like a cloud. Did she not get arrested? My goodness. We all sat down in the waiting area, me, my boyfriend, Kylie, James, and my mom, and we waited. What felt like forever, but was actually about an hour, while people ahead of us pled guilty to DUIs, which honestly felt a little ironic. The entire time, Kylie was sitting in front of me and my boyfriend, turning around, snickering, whispering to my mom, and James like they were a bunch of high schoolers passing notes in class. The immaturity was next level. Finally, we get called up. I'm seated on the right side of the court. Kylie's on the left with a big podium between us, so we couldn't get to see each other directly, probably for the best. The judge swears us in, asks us both to confirm that everything we say is true to the best of our knowledge. We agree. Then the judge looks at me and says, "Go ahead, tell me what happened." So, laid it all out. The threats. Her coming home wasted at 2 a.m., waking my kids up, screaming through the house, beating on James in front of my kids, the excessive drinking, the time she called Child Protective Services on me with a fake claim, the damage she and James did to my house, every bit of it. Then it was Kylie's turn, and she really tried to play the victim, claimed that I was a the court system, said she was never a threat to me, quote unquote, and that she only mentioned having a pew-pew to make me answer her calls. She said that out of her own mouth to the judge, thinking that that's helping her case here.
Yeah, she's like, I've got it in the bag.
I only said I had the because I wanted her to answer my calls. That's, Your Honor, you get that right.
Your Honor, I was just threatening her.
Yeah,
with a weapon.
She just needed to answer me, dude. Like, what else was I going to do?
Duh.
Fucking judge, dude, come on. Girl! The audacity. The judge asked if I wanted to move forward with a protection order, and I said, absolutely yes. Kylie then had the nerve to claim she's never been harmful to anyone a day in her life. And you know what? I came prepared. Pulled out printed screenshots of old texts she sent me, threatening people, including one where she admitted to hitting our uncle with her car in a hit and run.
Oh my God, that's a felony. Hi.
The exact warrant, by the way, that I called the cops on her for. Yeah, so like,
oh my God, she had a bench warrant for a hit and run.
And
that's terrible.
Remember, the whole family was mad at her for calling the cops on her because of the arrest. So what about Uncle? Uncle doesn't get any justice, even though she hit him with a car? Oh my God. The look on her face when I pulled that out, chef's kiss. I also reminded the judge that when I had custody of her at 13, because remember, OP raised her on and off all these years, trying to keep her out of foster care. She had to be physically removed from my home for threatening her teacher. She literally told her she'd cut the baby out of her stomach. Wow.
Whoa.
And for threatening to make sure I did not wake up. And since then, she's been punted out of our mom's house, our grandma's, and even James' mom's house because of her violent, reckless drinking and behavior. Everywhere she goes, chaos follows.
Does the state need to take care of her now?
Yeah, the state is in jail. Jail and prison is mom and dad.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You just go to mom. Mom's jail. You don't want to talk to dad. Dad's prison.
Exactly. Run to mom. That's what you want. Okay.
Talk to mom first, for sure.
Listen, lesser of two evils over here. So the judge seemed kind of over it by then, cut me off, and said that she'd issue her ruling later today. No verdict yet, but Kylie's sitting there convinced that it'll be thrown out because, according to her, we never had a disagreement. The delusion is wild. Anyways, I'll keep y'all posted as soon as the judge rules. But after today, I'm done. I'm going very low contact with the rest of the family, too, because watching your own mom wasted in court snickering with your while your kids are at home, yeah, I'm good on that.
True.
I get that.
True.
And we have update number 3. Welp, y'all. The roller coaster ride has officially come to a stop.
Aloha, yeah.
The verdict came back today, and after everything, the threats, the wasted episodes, waking my kids up in the middle of the night, the CPS call, the police reports, pictures of the damage to my home, screenshots of her threatening text, the impact statements, the judge ruled that the allegations and testimony did not support the statutory requirements.
Boo.
I'm so utterly confused. In other words, they labeled it a sibling quarrel. Whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. I'm not even going to lie. I sat there in disbelief when they read the decision. I genuinely thought with everything I submitted, it would be enough. I didn't just throw claims around. I came in with facts, proof, statements, and evidence from multiple people, and somehow it wasn't considered enough to warrant legal protection. So now I'm left in this weird space where she technically has no restrictions on coming around me, my home, or my kids. And if you've been following the story, you know exactly the kind of person she is. She'll show up just to pester me, cause problems, or stir up drama for no reason, and then make my life heck, because that's who she has always been. Right now, we're going to look into the VAWA, Violence Against Women's Act options, and see if there's any way to pursue action through that route, since it covers pesterment, stalking, and situations outside of typical domestic partnerships.
Oh, okay.
The problem is, without an active restraining order on file, it does make things complicated. And honestly, I can't afford to just up and move right now. Times are hard, rent's insane, and while I know I can save by the end of my lease, waiting that long isn't ideal if she's showing up, banging on my door, or pestering my kids. So for now, it looks like every time she pulls something, I'll have to call the cops and document. It's exhausting. All I want is peace, to raise my kids in a safe, calm home without chaos at the door. But apparently the courts see it just as sisters fighting. By the way, if you are as tired of these kinds of scenarios as we are right now, we have something that could help you run through, virtually simulate the worst life has to offer, and not only prepare you for these said scenarios, but maybe, just maybe, put a smile on your face while you're listening to that. And that's going to Spotify, Apple, or iHeart, or your favorite pod app, and searching OK Storytime. And guys, we have 2,000 episodes. Please check them out. Leave comments on Spotify, by the way. We do check those. We check those pretty regularly, actually. Our team takes those Spotify comments, and we make changes to improve the podcast based on those.
It's true.
Fun fact for you. So go please check that out.
A lot of people told us we were too loud for a minute when I came on at the beginning.
There might have been, was it coincidence? Was it correlation or causation?
It was probably a bit of both. But hey, you let us know.
The people talk and we listen.
I try to not be so loud.
That's right. Our boy has been smooth voiced ever since.
I'll be tactically loud, it's my trademark.
Exactly.
I'll get loud and it'll be funny because it sounds like I'm far away.
Let's round off this story, ladies and gentlemen. So that's where we are. Not the ending I wanted, but it's not over. I'll do whatever it takes to keep my baby safe and my home protected. Honestly, I'm in tears. I feel let down and I don't know where else to go or what to do, but I'll figure it out, and hopefully it's before something terrible happens. Thank you to everyone who followed this mess from start to finish. I appreciate the love, advice, and support more than you know. Stay safe, y'all. And if your gut tells you something is dangerous, listen to it, blood or not. Signing off for now. And that's the end.
Dude, and honestly, listening to your gut, such critically underrated advice. Sometimes it can get you into trouble, but a lot of times,
I don't know.
There's something there.
I don't know. You build a relationship with your gut and learn if you can trust it or not.